I spend most of my time with entrepreneurs. I don't spend my time with people who complain about the economy.
When you're trying to become successful, you need to listen to as many people as you possibly can. You need to go out and find experts in these fields that you are striving to be in and ask them for advice and get them to tell you the ins and outs of whatever it is you're trying to do. Because the people that have done it are the people that do have the most information and the most experience in that field and have the best intel to give to you, and all you have to do is ask. Yes, some people are going to tell you no, and that's all right. You just move on to the next person who's willing to give you information, because you want as much as that as possible so that you know exactly how everything works and whatever it is you want to go out and do.
Entrepreneur is a mindset first, a skill set, and rules.
It doesn't matter how hard or how big of a step it is to go out and ask that person. That's what you want to do. You want to ask people, not only will they give you information, then you will be able to make a connection and hopefully a relationship and build that. And then you'll be able to learn from them on more of a personal level. And then you can learn and get experience in the ins and outs of the businesses from somebody who truly knows you and truly wants to help you and assist you and guide you on your path to success. And you can learn from the expert. Then they can help you get in wherever you want, because a lot of times it's not about what you know, but it's about who you know. So you need to meet as many different people in your life as you possibly can to make connections that will last a lifetime, because you never know when somebody is going to be able to help you and change your life for the better.
But the important thing is you start. I don't care what product you start with, but you start. The last thing I want to talk about debt is one of the best investments I made, because I started off with no money like most people. My first investment was a little $18,000 condo in Hawaii, and I made a whopping $25 a month. I didn't make much money on that deal, but every time I did an investment, be it real estate or business, I got smarter, because experience makes you smarter. So I started with just a little $18,000 unit. I broke out my credit card. I paid the $2,000 down payment with my credit card, so it was 100% finance. Now, most experts will say you, that's stupid. You don't do that. But if you know what you're doing, you can do it. A number of years ago, I bought a $7 million commercial building. I paid for it with zero down. And every month, after everything is paid for, it puts about $30,000 a month income in my pocket, or $360,000 a year for no money down. So that is the price of having a good education or a bad education. A good education is knowing the good debt versus bad debt and how debtors can win if you know what you're doing.
Being an entrepreneur, I was in the rock and roll industry. And back in the 80s, I started studying with a man named Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller, best known for the geodesic dome. So in '67, I hitchhiked from New York City to Montreal, Canada to see Expo 67. Buckminster Fuller's dome was the U.S. pavilion there. So Expo 67 was the World's Fair on the Future. And Fuller was a futurist. But I didn't meet him there. And then back in 1981, I finally met him in Kirkwood, California on a seminar called The Future of Business. And so I studied with him 81, 82, and 83. And I was a hardcore make money entrepreneur. And one day Fuller asked me, he says, "What's your life's purpose?" And I said, "Make money." And how did I know that was the wrong answer? And he scolded me, because here I'm in rock and roll, it's sex, drugs, rock and roll. I don't do drugs, but I was trying for the rest. And he goes, "It's a waste of a good mind just to make money." I'm going, "What do you mean?" He says, "I thought we were supposed to make money." And he just challenged my paradigm, the way I looked at world and the business. He says, and I cover this in Fake, and the question he asked me, he says, "Why don't you do what God wants you to do?" I went, "What?" He says, "Look, humanity is evolving, and you have to ask yourself, what does God want done? Not what Robert Kiyosaki wanted done. What does God want done?" And he kind of scolded me in front of the whole class. I'm going, "So what's wrong with rock and roll?" From young people, "Oh, I don't have to worry because I'm still..." Yeah, and that is death to most people, because eventually you get old and then you're not young again. So it's a way of saying, when I talk about assets and liabilities. So when I was before my 20s, I knew I wanted to go there, and it wasn't doing what I loved. I had to learn what I didn't want to learn. I had sometimes to do what I hated. I had to learn about taxes. I had to learn about debt. I had to take classes. I had to learn about insurance. So I was doing a lot of things I hated doing so I could come over here. These guys never do this because they live their passion. I want my passion. The difference in passion is greedy, purpose is for other people. So my purpose was to come over here so I could serve more people. So I have employees here and all this. I don't buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds, because as a professional investor, I can create my own assets.
He didn't know what an air medal was. Air medal just meant how many round trips did you take into combat and came back alive. That's all it means. It doesn't mean I was a hero or anything, because I wasn't. We're just happy to bring my crew back alive. That's all we cared about. But to get to that level of flying is the same as investing. And I think that's what I really learned, is the dedication, not to be the best pilot, but be the best that I can be. And if I'm not the best that I can be, people die. And a lot of people, it's okay to be average, if you know what I mean. But when you get into that situation, when you're going in and out of combat zones, I went down 3 times, but I wouldn't be back today if I hadn't practiced to be the best. And so when I go into the world of money and investing, I'm still not, I'm not Zuckerberg or those guys, but you still have to be the best you can be.